So for some reason, we'd rather send a card than walk up to somebody and say, thank you very much. You know, it kind of lets us off the hook, doesn't it? Dear Mr. Manners, I don't know who that is, but cell phones have taken over people's lives, even in church or church events. I really find myself wanting to take them and toss them in the trash. What's the deal? I think it's rude. Okay. How many of you have your cell phones with you? Volume down. Personally, I don't know where mine is.
Have you ever seen people at a restaurant? Everyone at the restaurant, nobody's speaking to each other, and they're all on their phones. It's bad. That makes me mad.
I saw two kids across the table from each other, texting each other back.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like we've lost our tongue.
This morning from his bedroom.
Mine, I take it with me if my wife reminds me to take it with me.
Candy Crush.
Then when I get back home, she asks me, "Didn't you turn it on?" I said, "Well, no, I didn't have an accident."
Boy, this is my dinosaur.
And then she says something like, "Well, I needed to get a hold of you." I said, "Okay, what did you want?" That was 5 minutes ago, you know. I said, "So what did you want?" "Well, I just needed to get a hold of you." This is nuts. How did we live through the 50s and the 60s and the 70s without everybody having a cell phone in their hand? How did we survive? I think I must have died or something along the way, because there's no way to get life. There's no life without cell phones. Is there?
How would Jordan know that I loved him if I didn't text it 8 times a day?
Now, cell phones themselves are not bad.
Alicia already wishes I didn't have one.
No, I do not.
They're very convenient, and in a situation where you had an accident, they're great. Okay. But the question is, do they control you, or do you control them? Okay. If I were to say to you, let's all turn off our cell phones Monday and Tuesday and just talk to each other. Pick up the phone or drive over to see somebody. Could you turn your cell phone off for 2 days and not have a meltdown?
Yeah,
I'd be glad to, yeah.
I do it every week.
Huh?
I do it every week.
Yeah, I know. I can never get you on and it does not aggravate me. It's okay.
Some people it does.
How about you? Could you turn yours off?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I could turn mine off. I would completely do without cell phone and internet if I could, but.
And also, you know,
What about the school?
Facebook.
What about the school calling for your kids?
They call the home phone.
Yeah.
They never call me.
Well, I never have my home phone. I mean, I'm not ever there.
Well, see, I got my cell phone, but half the time I can't. At home, my cell phone doesn't work. So it's like that's why I've only got a track phone. I don't have.
We have
it's
no
just
reception at our house.
So it's like
Not
it's
at
just if I go out and I go up to Ohio, 7-hour trip. I need the cell phone in case something happens. You know, that's about the only time. And in town, if somebody needs to get a hold of me.
For me, it's completely different. The reason why is because, for one, in the summertime, I drive a golf cart to Mitchell and back. And when I'm on a golf cart, I have to have a cell phone to cable to call in case the tire blows out, or in case I have insurance on in case I wreck. You never know. And then second of all, we have a home phone, but I haven't given it to anybody besides John. So nobody has our home phone. And so it's just me and John has it, and that's it. So it like never rings, which is one of the, it rings and we're like, what's that noise? I mean, that's how. And then thirdly, for us, it's weird because I don't know. Okay, I've had 3 brain surgeries, and I can't remember very well. But I remember my cell phone number, and I remember John's cell phone number. But I can't remember very much more. So I can't remember my home phone number. So if someone says, what's your phone number, I have to give you mine or his.
My daughter has no idea what her home phone number is.
I don't have a clue. And then plus, if I have a grocery list, I have to put it on my phone because if not, I forget it at home. and I can't remember that good, and it reminds me of my doctor's appointments, which I have a bunch, you know, and it reminds me, you know, if I don't have that, I can't remember. But I guess mine's more of a physical problem.
I'm looking at it now from, I guess, a mom's point of view. I see it as an addiction. It's become an obsession. We came, this is our stupid example. We came to church today and everybody has already seen a picture of a hog. Not a Harley, don't get excited. Talking about a dead wild hog, okay? But we can't tell anybody because our loudmouth daughters have already Facebooked it. It's already out there. Everything already gets put out there. And in regard to that, I think I did do Facebook temporarily for 2 weeks. And I found that people that didn't talk to me at church and didn't talk to me at the grocery store talked to me on Facebook. And that offended me. I guess I need thicker skin, but to me, if you can't say hi when you're passing me in the grocery store or in church, then you're out of my computer. So
You gotta have Facebook to have personality.
I'm too old for this, I guess. That's my excuse. I don't have time to comment on like. It's just like.
I can't imagine somebody sitting there that long. You know,
That's what
just
blows us
constant
away.
Conversation.
Well,
We're old.
when you're on the phone or when you're on Facebook, you don't have to look anybody in the eye.
Yeah, no commitment.
And really, the soul is reflected by the eyes. It really is. You look somebody in the eye and they look away real quick, or you say something, you ask them a question and they don't want to answer it. You can tell it instantly by their eyes. Teachers in school can tell if the kids are lying to them just by catching. Yeah, I mean, you can tell if this is a pile of BS or whether they're really telling the truth and sincere. You can tell.
Well, outside of him needing it for medical purposes or you know, he comes home at 3:30 in the morning. I want him to have a cell phone in case he slides off the road.
It's in the dash of the truck.
Usually.
Yeah, usually turned off, but I can turn it on and use it if I
I
need.
guess it's not an umbilical cord for me, so I don't understand that.
Dave, were you going to say something?
No, I was gonna say that, okay, the restaurant back and forth thing, I have seen that and I've been guilty of it. And so now make a conscious effort not to do that. So I was just like, yeah, last time we went out, that's all you did.
I'm not your judge. Don't let me judge.
But I have made a conscious effort to
John
put it
took
away
me on
when
a
we're
date
sitting
Friday,
anywhere.
and it was me and him at that Eagle Point place, and he's sitting across from me, and we're both sitting there, and while we're eating, after we finish eating, you know, we're holding hands like this across the thing, and but while we're waiting on our food, we both have our cell phones. And I'm sitting here thinking, and that's exactly what popped in my mind was, we're on a date in the same place, but I was looking for something important that we needed to do for something. I don't know what it was, but there was a reason for it, but still, that crossed my mind. I thought, we're on a date, we got our cell phones. We're probably looking at us like,
That's how our dates go. We're on our cell phone and I'm eating.
And you are on your cell phone too.
yeah, that's how I
When we go on a date, my
He
cell
has a
phone's
smartphone
on.
now and it's bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not help.
But another thing that I know that I do is like.
Boy, this
just
was a
at night-
good topic.
Just at night when I get home, you know, and we've had supper and we sit down and we're watching TV or something, and I'm always playing a game. I'm watching TV, I'm playing a game, and then I'm checking Ethan's homework all at the same time or something. So,
She had to add the homework.
and then like, yeah, doing something good. No, Ethan's going, are you going to check my homework? But it's like, then all of a sudden the night's gone, you know, and I've wasted all that time. So now what I've done is put my Bible app on top of my game app so that I consciously have to skip over it before I go to the games.
That's good.
Okay.
And then my Bible app will come up and remind me, have you read this verse today, you know, or something. But something that kind of scared me was, and Hillary and I were talking about it a few weeks ago, when I'm just sitting there watching TV anymore, I'm like, I'm so bored. I have to do something else. It's like your mind has to go in 6 different directions. And I don't know when I got to that point, but I don't like it.
You shouldn't like it.
Is it just me, or does texting and things make everything seem so impersonal, and you don't really know what the other person on the other end is feeling, whether they're happy, they're sad, they're excited, they're...
Exactly right.
And it takes all the feeling out of it.
That's what the
It really
smiley
does.
faces are for.
See, that's
Look at
true.
me.
But 3 years ago, before my last brain surgery, I used to
Most
talk
of the
on the
trouble
phone.
told
I
my
love
girlfriend.
talking on the phone. I talked to John's
Text.
grandma
I
on the
don't
phone
like
for
texting.
hours,
I don't
and my
really
mom.
like it.
I talked
I'd
on the
rather
phone.
talk to
I was
somebody
always
on
on
the
the
phone.
phone. But as soon as I had my
I called
surgery,
Steve, you know, he don't
I
have a
couldn't talk on
cell.
the phone anymore, and I
I
just
hate that he
texted.
didn't have a cell
I still in that
because
way. I have a hard time
sometimes
talking on the
he'll
phone.
go to town. Like the
I
one
don't. I
time he
think
went to
it's
town to pick
because
Daniel up,
I can't keep.
and
I don't know if I just can't
she
keep
called
my
to say
brain
she was in a different place.
into
I
that
couldn't
conversation.
tell
I'm getting
because he didn't have a
better,
cell.
but the first year
There are
of it,
good
I
in some
couldn't
ways
even
and
concentrate on what the
sometimes
person was
it's
talking.
bad.
Like I couldn't at all. And then John was like, "Are you listening to me?" And I'm like, "Hello, are you here?" You know. And he's like, "Abby, you're not." But anyway, I think that. So I'm getting better at it. Like I talked to Jennifer on the phone the other day, and I just really good on the conversation. Like I think I paid attention to her.
Yeah, other than me hitting the buttons with my
Yeah,
chin
hanging
the
up
whole
on me in 5
time.
minutes, but you know.
Cell phones anonymous.
You know, going back to what Jennifer said, when I say something to you, I have an inflection in my voice.
That's it.
I can say to you, you're such a nut. I can say, you are such a nut.
Uh-huh.
And they mean two totally different things.
Yeah.
Okay? One of them, you're kind of cool and I like to be around you and you're a little bit exciting. The other one is,
Right.
I wish you'd just stay away from me.
You're crazy. I mean, you're really seriously crazy. Will you stop calling me?
I remember when I was a kid,
That's why my texts are this long.
I remember when I was a kid, we'd be at Grandma's house, and supper was at 5 o'clock. That's when supper was. Well, 3 o'clock, a couple of the kids would be down at the river fishing, and one would be out in the pond, and I'd be throwing a baseball against a stone wall somewhere. At 4 o'clock, we'd all be in the farmyard, throwing rocks at the chickens and, you know, whatever. At about 4:45, we'd be around the porch. And at 5 o'clock, Grandma would come out and ring that bell, and we were already there. She would walk in the door, and we never walked in the door in front of her. We followed her into the house. Everybody jumped in their chair and sat there waiting for Grandpa to come in. Grandpa would come in about 2 minutes after. And he would hang up his coat and put his hat on the rack, and he would go over and straighten up his hair in the mirror, and we're sitting there looking at all the food on his plate. He'd go over to the sink and wash his hands, and the whole thing only took about 2 minutes, but it seemed like it took hours. You know? He'd dry his hands, and he'd stand there, and he'd look out the window for a minute, hang the towel up, and then he'd come over and sit down at the head of the table, and he would look every one of us in the eye at the table. Every one of us.
Kind of out of respect.
And then he'd look at Grandma, and he'd say, he'd nod his head, and Grandma would pray the blessing. I never heard Grandpa pray. Not once. But he's in heaven at the gate waiting for me to come home. I know he is, because he had the love of Christ in his heart. But he never prayed. He never prayed out loud. But I know he was a Christian. I know he loved Jesus. Okay. But Grandma would pray, and then chaos, everybody started reaching for all the food. And that's not there anymore. Everybody is in different parts of the world, and the only thing that holds us together anymore is a cell phone or a Facebook page. And I honestly think we've lost something very, very precious. We need to take maybe just one day a week to insist that everybody sit down at the table together, eat a meal together, look each other in the eye, and leave the cell phones in the bedroom.
We do once a week.
That's my opinion,
We do.
and you don't have to do it unless God tells you to, okay? But I really think we've lost something because we haven't followed through. My opinion.
Very good
Jump
challenge
up.
for this week to start doing one day a week, put down a cell phone. Very good challenge.
Let's go a whole week. Well, Josh just couldn't do it.
Verse 11, Proverbs 15. Oh, if Proverbs is getting kind of old,
I actually put mine in.
and you want to study something else for a while, maybe for, 3, 4, 5 weeks or
Burn
something,
up.
we can switch to that. We're about halfway through Proverbs now, not quite, but almost halfway. And if you want to look at something else for a few weeks, another short book in the Bible, Ruth, Jonah, whatever, we can do that, and then come back and finish Proverbs at a later date. It's up to you.
I vote for let's get her done.
I like it. Proverbs is my favorite part of the Bible.
I said
Okay.
let's do it.
No, that's fine, we can stay in it, but we also don't have to stay in it every Sunday until we get through.
Okay.
I think we have to finish it, but I don't think we have to finish it. I think we can stop at the end of a chapter and then come back and pick it up. Because in Proverbs, 2 chapters don't, each verse itself is a standalone thing. Chapter 16 doesn't depend on chapter 15 for anything. It's just a lot of quick thoughts that have a lot of wisdom in them, but sometimes they carry a theme for 3 or 4 verses, but they don't carry it from chapter to chapter. Okay, Proverbs 15:11.
Death and destruction lie open before the Lord. How much more the hearts of men?
Okay, what's that saying?
Makes no sense. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. You read my mind.
Okay. If God knows everything that's happening on earth, and everything that will happen on earth, and everything that will happen after human history is ended and he sets up his kingdom, do you think there's any chance he doesn't know what's going on in your heart?
I get it. That makes sense.
Now, after I said that, go back and read it again.
Yep, makes sense.
Death and destruction lie open before the Lord. He knows everything that's going on this earth. How much more are the hearts of men? You know, he doesn't have a personal relationship with the guys that are destroying the rainforests. Okay? He may not like it. I tend to believe that if they're Christians, they wouldn't be doing it. It's all about greed and money. But he knows it's going on, and he has feelings about it. But you are what's precious to him. I mean, he can fix the rainforest. If he could make the universe in 6 days, do you think he can't fix the rainforest? He wants to fix me. He loves me. He can plant trees anytime he wants to. There's never going to be another me. And he wants that to be good. He wants my life to be good and prosperous. He wants Jennifer and Alicia to get straight A's. He wants us all to be happy. And he wants to help us do that. The trees, yeah, he loves the trees. They're good trees. But he can always have more trees. He can't have another Faith and Edwards. He's only got one. He's only got one, and he wants her to be special to him.
And she's special.
Right.
Cleanest windows in the bus.
Okay, I think it's time for 12.
Sorry, Faith.
That was great.
Moses.
Number 12.
A mocker resents correction. He will not consult the wise.
Why not? Why won't he consult the wise?
Because he'll hear the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. He already knows the truth. He's afraid you might know the truth. And if he comes and consults you and you say, well, you got to quit doing that, what's it say? He resents correction. How many times have you really enjoyed being corrected?
Never.
Not once.
It's just human nature. Nobody wants to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong. And I for sure don't want you telling me I'm wrong. Well, I don't want you telling me I'm wrong. But we don't like for people to get in our face and say, you're wrong. You know, my first response is, what response just came up in your head when I said my first response is? Something came up, didn't it? You know, I look at people and I say, you're not God. Then I realize, maybe God sent you because you're right. You know? What's your first response? Who do you think you are? Or what right do you have to be a messenger? Maybe God sent him. Maybe God sent him. Maybe God.
Or maybe not.
Huh?
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not. You know? Amen. The biggest gossip in town is not somebody you want to be taking advice from.
That's what I was going to say. It depends on who it comes from. I mean, if you know it's coming from a good place, then that's not too bad. But if it's coming from somebody that you resent already, or that you know that they're just trying to make you look bad, yeah, you're not going to take it well.
I remember Janice's mom got real bad. We had to move up north for a summer, for a long summer. A long summer.
How come there was so much emphasis on that?
If that was a text, we'd have never known it.
We went up there. We were. I was doing her mom's garden, so you know I was up there with the tomatoes that I could afford. But Janice was asked to run this gift shop at Wilbur Wright Berkeley Museum. And there was this woman who was in charge of Wilbur Wright. She was the board chairman or the board president or whatever she was. She was his board, really, but she thought she was special. And she would stand there and she would tell Janice the dirt on every single person that came out of her mouth. She did not know one person that she could say anything good about. And after about 3 days of that, I said, Janice, and Janice was real high on her. I mean, she was just as sweet to Janice and just as complimentary. And after about 3 days, in my normal, tactful, politically correct way,
Always sweet and polite.
I looked at Janice and I said, Janice, that woman is not your friend. She's going to stab you in the back before this is over. She doesn't have one good word to say about anybody on the face of this earth. And when your back's turned, she doesn't have anything good to say about you either. And Janice said, well, it's not your place to judge her. Guess what happened? Janice got fired at the end of that summer. And she had her sales for that summer was 3 times any other summer in the history of that organization. But the woman that fired her couldn't stand me. So she fired Janice and told a whole bunch of lies about what Janice was doing when everybody's back was turned. I can tell you without any shadow of a doubt and stake my eternity on it, every penny you've got is safe with Janice. She is too honest. She is honest to a fault. If she even thinks you might wonder if she took your $10 bill, she's going to give you 20. Me, I'm just going to get mad at you, but Janice would give you 20. That woman crucified her.
But then maybe God used it as maybe he wanted her somewhere else. So maybe.
Nah, that wasn't it.
How do you really feel?
No. But, you know, it was a good thing. We came back, and I'm teaching Sunday school here. And
Oh, see, it was a good thing.
God made good from all situations. And her mother got well. Her mother got well.
Which I posted on Facebook earlier in the week.
But it's going back to what Faith said. The point is, sometimes the people that come to correct you are not doing it for the right reasons. And you can't trust them. 13.
A happy heart makes the face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit.
walk in and look at somebody's face and know how the day's going?
Some people, yeah.
Yep.
There's an old Indian proverb, and I wish I could remember what it was, but it's got something to do with the eye speaks. The eye speaks what the spirit's living. Basically, if your spirit is troubled, your eyes will be troubled. You can see it in the person's eyes. Okay. So we're going to have to stop there. Jathan's hungry. And time's up. But the cell phone discussion was great. That really was good.
I could go on and on about it.